This is Comic Picks by the Glick.
Hey, I'm your host, Jason Glick.
Hey, Jason Glick, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine, John. And yourself?
Oh, not too bad. What are you going to talk about tonight?
Well, tonight's like something I've been waiting to do for a while. Basically, as soon as like the film version of this series was announced as coming out for this year, I knew that I was going to have to do a podcast on it. And this would be the live action adaptation of Ghost in the Shell. Now, it's like I haven't been really anticipating the movie because I wanted to see the movie, but mainly because it would give me a chance to talk about the series as a whole. So, because well, actually, John, you and I, we went like at the time we're recording this right now. We went out and saw the movie earlier today, and well, I guess I'll get things started by saying, I mean, we already discussed our thoughts earlier, but let me reiterate the fact that I left this film with like pretty mixed emotions about it because this isn't something I could hate because it's clearly the work of people who've seen the original anime film and appreciated it, and also wanted to replicate its some of its most memorable scenes and shots, almost frame for frame in this film. So it's not like the mess that was delivered with Dragon Ball Evolution, which I haven't seen, but any cursory examination of the film or the trailers for it can tell you that it just did not like get the like the source material at all. Ghost in the Shell, there's at least a surface understanding of the coolest parts of the anime film, of the original film, and the acting is pretty decent. Scarlett Johansson, she was fine, even though she didn't quite hit the home run that I was expecting her to. I like the guy they got for Bateau. It's like he had a nice sense of humor, but I was also most looking forward to seeing Takeshi Kitano as Aramaki because he's a great like idiosyncratic talent in Japan, guy who can do like straight faced yakuza films, then be a complete goofball in his TV appearances, and he gets not only is he allowed he speaks Japanese throughout the entire film. He also gets a couple of scenes to show off what a badass he can be as well. Like even though I think he's like pushing 70 or maybe not 70, maybe 60 at this point. So but also the film is deeply formulaic as far as action movie standards go. It is kind of it does borrow a lot from the Bourne Identity in the sense that the main character, the Major, is an amnesiac who can't remember her past, and the film is kind of a her journey of self-discovery as she learns like the truth about her origins and why she was transplanted into this brand new kick-ass cyborg body. Problem is that when with Ghost in the Shell, it's like I want to see exploration of future crime, and I want philosophy as well, because that's what I've what it's various iterations through manga, through film, through TV up to this point have basically led me to expect from it, and they've been really good explorations of these things. It's like up until now, which like we're just kind of drawing from this Hollywood playbook. So it's like so the film should be applauded for how good it looks and how it can how for replicating the surface attraction of the original film. But as far as telling a memorable story within using these things, it really does not. John, I know you had your own thoughts about this.
Yeah, I tend to agree. And you know what's funny? And I I remember seeing Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence with you and several of our other friends. And I remember kind of walking out of the theater with that one going, this is just so philosophy heavy and just it was like it's like eating just being over full of that. That's not how this was,
No.
unfortunately.
Oh God,
And
no.
and the thing about and this is the argument I'll make about it is that steampunk movies, if you go to Blade Runner, you go to the original Ghost in the
Cyberpunk.
Shell. I'm sorry, Cyberpunk. What did I say?
You said steampunk.
Steampunk. Sorry. That's should be cyberpunk. Movies like this have always, harkened back to the Philip K. Dick original story. Do androids dream of electric sheep? It's this whole concept of you know um, what makes a human, right? And however, it really wasn't here in this film, and I was almost hoping that, it's funny. And the other thing I was saying is like the Matrix actually got the first Matrix movie got this concept better than we saw it in this film,
Yeah,
and that is almost sad because the Matrix is an homage to the Ghost in the Shell film and several other things in the cyberpunk realm.
yeah, and I also cited another, like actually another movie from the '80s, as being kind of also offering the same plot that we got here.
Yes, unfortunately, the parallels more match RoboCop. And I'm not saying RoboCop's a bad movie. As a matter of fact, I kind of think of it as a great
No, RoboCop's a
classic
lot more
film.
entertaining.
A lot more entertaining. But it's like that this film really just it felt like cues were taken from that and thrown into this rather than from its actual spiritual. Its namesake. Let's say it that way, and that's unfortunate because it shouldn't be that way. It should be, there's always this aspect of it, and of this type of movie, which really delved into it, really dug into it. And yes, I like these. I like the detective crime, you know, aspect of the of the original film. That to me is it that adds to it. This time it was like someone made a nice pretty homage, and then there was a point in the film where I dropped off of a cliff. I kid you not. I was struggling very hard to stay with it, and I think I successfully did. But I was just like, oh, please, please, let this be in something, let me see what I'm seeing right now be a part of some virtual reality, something, something like that. I didn't get that, unfortunately. So yeah, I would say that visually wise, I'm gonna agree with you on the casting of Bato and Scarlett Johansson as Kusanagi, although she's not Kusanagi.
Yeah, it's. I think it's worth noting about. We have to address the whitewashing controversy, which going into the film, I okay, if you want to be angry about the fact that a Japanese actress was not cast in this role, be angry
Yeah.
because it's like I said, like that's that was something that a lot of people wanted, but that was not done here, and nothing I can say I can really like address that. All I will add is that I had no problem with it because, the fact that I think that, it's like when it was announced that Scarlett Johansson was going to play the role of the Major, and I thought that okay, she I've seen her in it's like in the Avengers as Black Widow, and I know she can do like a great badass ass kicker, so she can probably get the Major's force of will down pretty well, which she did, even if I kind of felt there were a lot of parts where like the Major felt a lot more vulnerable than I was expecting from the character, to the point where it's like, yeah, my version of the Major is someone who she would be more she's more who she is like a take charge, kick ass person in the anime and the manga, but whose doubts only stem from what she doesn't know and can't control. It's like not the questions of identity that okay, I guess there are she just has some questions of the identity like in the original film, but at the same time she never got to the point where she felt as weak as Johansson does here. But I'm getting away from my original point. Like the fact, aside from like the fact that I thought Johansson could do the role, which he did well enough here, but also the fact that we're getting an A-lister paying attention, involved in this thing, means that this is not going to be just like a cheap cut and run adaptation. This is probably going to have something that's actually have some real resources invested in it. And also, when it was announced they were casting Takeshi Kitano as Aramaki, the fact that they were getting this Japanese character actors, the director like someone who I've really who I've admired for years, and they're not only going to put me in this role, but he doesn't speak English at all in this film. All of his dialogue is subtitled.
Yeah.
So it's like I mean the fact that they were willing to say hey, yeah, we want you to be in this film, and we're not even gonna have to make you speak English in order to do it, in order to make that happen. So yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. But like I said, if like the whole whitewashing controversy did kind of drown out the film's buzz, but also I think the justifiably weak reviews also had their own say in that as well. Still, I will admit that the way they worked Motoko Kusanagi into the film was actually pretty clever, since it basically this is actually a tacit acknowledgement of like the whitewashing of the character within the text of the film itself.
Yeah, if you're looking for a good, live action interpretation of it, I would say that that's not what this is, though. So, unfortunately, I'm like, okay, is this worth seeing in the theater? Well, we did it for you. So
Yeah,
I would say, at this point, if you're just morbidly curious and you must see it, I'd wait until it comes out on video. If just hold off. It's not something that I think you want to be disappointed with right now. You can be disappointed when it comes out on video.
yeah,
or,
indeed,
or or if you like it, then yeah. But I don't think that there's a lot of redeeming value. And yeah, sadly to say, the RoboCop analogy still fits fairly freaking well on this one.
true.
It's scarily so. The more I think about it, so
Yeah, and
mhm.
it's like, and so basically, if you want like the real Ghost in the Shell experience, go watch either the original anime movie or the TV series standalone complex, either season.
Indeed.
Yeah, because I like some history for you. Way back in the dark ages of 1997, I finally got around to seeing the film, and it blew my mind. I think I've seen this film, the original anime movie, more times than any other film since. And it's like, because it, like I said, it had style, it had substance, and even if some of that substance was just like obscure enough to make me just want to keep watching it over and over again, just say, what does this all mean? It's still a brilliant like reputation for me at the time, like someone who had kind of grown up on watching like Disney stuff, like in terms of animation for all these years, and was yearning for something like some more mature take on animation. This is like exactly the thing I was looking for. And like coming in my late teen years, it's like it was like the right thing at the right time. It's like, and even though I will acknowledge that the original film, which like basically chronicles like most of the same ground as the new live action film, it's like it has its ponderous moments where it's like where like a lot of characters do just like go on dialogues about it's like about the nature of man and what is human life, and the core of the film is basically about the hunt for the puppet master, a world class hacker who it's eventually revealed is actually an AI that developed that was like that developed while working in the sea of in the internet, and eventually it's like his attempts to try and like achieve sanctuary basically lead to like fatal consequences for Major Kusanagi and the rest of Section 9. So it's a good film. It does require certain amount of patience in order to get through the philosophizing that it's done, and it also, I think, for fans of its director Mamoru Oshii, it's kind of the tipping point for when his style basically went from fairly accessible to very specific to self-indulgent, because like the sequel, Innocence, not a bad sequel, but its main achievement is being something that being a film managed to test your patience to the ultimate limit before offering up some really cool scene to reward said patience for sticking with its philosophizing and rambling. It's like, and also the less said about his most recent anime film, The Skycrawlers, the better, because that my buddy David and I tried watching that one day, and it turned into a Mystery Science Theater fest later on. For what I believe the best extension of his directorial style, go check out it's like Patlabor 2, and also the original Patlabor as well. If you want his absolute best film, you have to go way out into the otaku boondocks for Urusei Yatsura 2, Beautiful Dreamer. So that digression aside, while I like the original anime film, Standalone Complex, both seasons are probably the best extension of the anime of the Ghost in the Shell concept that I've seen. Because not only does not only does it work as both a great police procedural, showing you what their idea of the writer's idea of future crime. It's like, and also future crime as addressed by this badass team of elite criminal operatives, but also throughout both seasons are exceptionally well planned stories. It's like basically the first season, which involves a master hacker known as the Laughing Man, and Section 9's attempts to try and bring him down, only to realize that he's actually working to bring down a larger conspiracy within within the cyber pharmaceutical business as well. And then the surprisingly even better second season details an attempt to destabilize the government of Japan from within. It's like, and also offers some of the series' most emotional and involving character moments as well, because it's like, well, character development has never been a strong thing within the Ghost in the Shell framework. The TV series, throughout both seasons, does a great job of bringing more life and depth to its cast. Mainly because they had plenty of room to do so, but ultimately it shows that the characters have a lot more depth to them than their most famous, I guess, most accessible. Most famous. No, it's ultimately both seasons of Standalone Complex represents Ghost in the Shell at its most accessible. I'll admit I haven't seen any of Arise, so I could be wrong there, but we'll see. John, any thoughts on on the original film or Standalone Complex?
I agree with you on Innocence, obviously. And the original film, yeah, absolutely. Just go see it. It's great. And I'm going to concur with all of the other recommendations for his other works that you made, or not, or recommendations
Well, for
against.
Oshi's other films, because
Yeah.
he's best known for Ghost in the Shell, but everything he did prior to that is we recommend without reservation,
Absolutely.
especially Patlabor.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yes, indeed. I support all those, and I think that you should go see them. And the television series is excellent, excellent, excellent. I wish anime was like this. Nowadays. I really do. I don't think that you have that as much anymore. I mean, it's been so taken over from the how shall we say it, the cutesy and then what I call kind of the pseudo horror stuff that's just like but yeah, if you want to watch good police procedural type of set in this universe, yeah, go for the Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex series. Absolutely, and yeah, I have no opinion on Arise either, so I don't know. So
I'm sure I'll get around to watching that eventually, but for now we've got no opinion on it. But it's like, this is a comics podcast. So it's kind of like, why is it taking us so long to get to the original manga? In fact, for all the for the sites I visit, from the mass media that I consume, there has been very little talk of the original Ghost in the Shell manga that spawned the whole thing. Now, of course, that's because the the original movie is kind of was an insanely successful at its time, and like did manage to pierce the mainstream. So that's the one that everyone like associates with. But like the way these things work, it's like always like but the original is always better. Like if you're like sure like a lot of like TV series are spawned from manga, TV series and movies. It's like, but always the common refrain is always the manga is better. The original material, source material, is better. No, it does not. In fact, when it comes to that way thinking, I believe that Ghost in the Shell is the exception that proves the rule. It's like now there are several anime that I believe that are definitely superior to their print incarnations. Azumanga Daioh, Angelic Layer, Planetus. But more than anything else, it's Ghost in the Shell. Now, I think part of that could be, I will admit, it could be down to the fact that I saw the Ghost in the Shell movie before I read the manga. Now, the thing is, it's like way back in the day, I'd seen the movie, loved it, and I knew that there was like a manga based on it, and eventually it's like there was like this big thick collected edition, $25. I mean, like for like these 300 pages, and like that was a big freaking deal for me back in the day. And so when I saw it at my local comic shop, I thought, I've got like just enough money to get this thing, so I'm gonna go. I got to do this just because like I love the film, and I'm gonna read the manga, and I'm gonna like see how much better this is. I was so disappointed. First of all, what Oshii did with Ghost in the Shell, it is really an incredible adaptation because the thing is he did like take specific parts of the series for the movie. It's like, and so in terms of like scaling down all, like there's a lot of sprawl in the series. I mean, it's not really even one ongoing story. It's several different stories about Major and the rest of Section 9 fighting like different taking on different future crime cases. What Oshii did was just take all the Puppet Master stuff and put it into one movie. And more than that, though, he eschewed Shiro's very distinctive style for a more realistic look that changed the tone of the series as well. Because here's the thing, Shiro, he's got this very distinctive style. It's like if you've like it's like if like he's responsible for Ghost in the Shell. He's given this Appleseed, Dominion, Black Magic, and probably character designs for a lot of other stuff as well. But he's got one of the most recognizable styles because like out there because like everyone saw it back in the day and loved to copy it. It's worth noting that Joe Madureira, back when he was doing Uncanny X-Men way back in the day, gave Rogue the Major's hairstyle. It's like during the Age of Apocalypse arc. So it's a minor thing, but it's also one of those things that shows you just this is how influential he was. Adam Warren also went through his own I gotta be like Shiro stage during third and fourth volumes of his Dirty Pair series as well. So, but the thing is, he's also got Shiro's got this it's also one that's very irreverent, can also shift into super deformed wackiness, and has a fair amount of humor as well. That's all present in the original Ghost in the Shell. And for someone who came into it expecting, hey, something like the movie, wow, this was just kind of like a huge shock to the system for me. But more than anything else, the biggest problem I had is that it's like the series is incredibly plot driven to the point where it's like there are recognizable characters in here, and a lot of the established tics of the characters have been filtered through the Ghost in the Shell and subsequent adaptations. But it's very much like Shiro advancing his thoughts on on society and technology. It's like rather than as opposed like mixing force dancing them through the characters, because the characters are just kind of like there to like advance the story rather than just have the story like go through them. It's it's like I said, I was thoroughly disappointed upon reading it initially, and it's like but I mean even then it's like I have to admit like the stories like like aren't bad, and it's also worth noting. Well, okay, yeah, it's, I guess probably cheap equivocation to say they're not bad. Like they like I said, like Shiro does have like points he wants to advance. It's like and like the stories themselves are like decently constructed, but at the same time. It's also worth noting that when Oshii came back to do Ghost in the Shell 2, he went and took on another aspect from the like from this original series, ghost dubbing. Basically, the idea of like taking like an original human psyche and then overwriting it's like a new personality, new personality on it. So it's and I mentioned this because well. It's like Shiro spent a long fucking time working on the sequel series, Ghost in the Shell 2, Man-Machine Interface. Oh god, where to begin? Because Ghost in the Shell 2, okay, is a lot of people give sci-fi like stuff shit when they talk about say, hey, it's more concerned with the tech than the humans. It's like it's like when it's ultimately it all boils down to like people like caring about the humanity and all. It's like and like the human stories that science fiction is told because it's all basically all when it boils down to it's all allegory in the end. Well, yeah, that's certainly true, but at the same time though, it's also used as like a cheap a cop out when people like don't want to really invest in this stuff. I think that if the ideas are cool enough, that gets me a long way to accepting cardboard characters as well. Then you have something like Ghost in the Shell 2, which is like the poster child for this thing. Like when people bust this thing, that kind of talk out, Ghost in the Shell 2 is exactly the story they're talking about. It is goddamn fucking impenetrable because it's just Shiro just going on about about his thoughts on like about artificial intelligence, life, existence, like without any characters, any interesting story to begin with. I it and reading I now I want to say I got this through the single issues because I have a friend of mine who has these. And I borrowed this from him like for like back in the day and then to reread again for this podcast. It starts off with Shiro apologizing to the fact that he wanted to go off in a different direction, like from the end of the original Ghost in the Shell, and so he apologizes for this not being a direct continuation. And so basically, from the start, you've got it's like you've got him, you have no emotional connection, no connection to the characters. Like even though this is like supposed to be the Motoko Kusanagi who bonded with the puppet master at the end of the original series, now going by the name Motoko Aramaki, and I'm working as a troubleshooter for this conglomerate known as Poseidon, and it's like even then like it's just straight up technobabble from the start, into a plot that involves like a philosophical track that reads like it was written for aliens. It's like pigs that were enhanced to human cyber brain status. It's like seers who can see, like spirit readers who can see into your soul. Just lots of specific techno shit that's just like unable. It is unable. I'm unable to care about anything in this series because there are no characters. They're just like cipher stand-ins for Shiro's proselytizing. It's just and the dialogue is just like just like random dry text. I mean, like even though it's got Frederick Schott and Torrin Smith working on the localization, it's just like dry as fuck through 95% of it. And but also I mean, half the series. Wow. Okay. The only thing I liked about the series, the one thing that, and specifically the fact that this is the single issues that this came in, was that it was seeing the reader response to this. Was some people were impressed by it. Some people were like more confused than I was. Others completely bought into what Shiro was selling here. But the most interesting thing, like in the back matter for these issues, was what was from the second issue, where the editor of the series, Chris Warner, I believe, gave a long, like 3-page explanation of why the series had taken almost 10 years to complete. Well, that basically boils down to the fact that this is a series where Shiro discovered CG manipulation and worked it into his art. While the original run of the series was done in pencil and paint for certain parts of the series, once he discovered CG manipulation, well, then Shiro apparently wanted to go and try and redo the entire fucking series on his own. And apparently when the series came out originally back in 2001, they found that Shiro had gone and retouched like over 150 pages of the original artwork with his CG work. And it's like, looking back on this, yeah, it is like his CG stuff is pretty impressive, and it's also kind of like the first time at the tipping point where he's going from pure fan service and he's getting ready to for the fact he spent the last decade doing nothing but porn. I mean, there are so many crotch shots. It's like with not even just like like quick panty glimpses like you get in the original series, which are just kind of like it's like, oh, it's the territory, it's seinen manga. It's like you gotta throw in the panty flashes just to keep the guys interested in these long things. No, it's like you get all these like crotch shots like all over, like all throughout the series. And at one point, like she even mentions that hey, it's like she's a cyborg, so she shouldn't even have to wear panties. Let's just say she does it out of habit. Yeah, okay, that's great, man. I love hearing that. Now, it's like I can only imagine that the reaction to this series, is basically what convinced him to just do nothing but porn for the last decade, which really is like all like his major published stuff has been, really. And but also providing the original concept for Pandora and the Crimson Shell, which if anything shows that hey, if he wants to provide concepts for other people to work off of, great, because apparently that's the best way for anyone to experience his ideas. For guys like Pandora and the Crimson Shell isn't any great shakes as a series. I mean, it's perfectly harmless fan service stuff. If you like girls like being the main characters for the entire series, but even then, Koshi Rikdo, it's like he has enough sense to make sure the characters are developed enough that you care about them. This concept seems completely alien to Shiro. And it is completely at the forefront of man-machine interface. So, if out of anything, if it's like this is basically this Ghost in the Shell 2 man-machine interface is a series where Shiro fully disappeared up his own ass, and if he realized that hey, if no one was going to like him. These are the only stories he was capable of completing at this point. Then it's a good thing. He's just given us nothing but porn at this point. I would love to have seen another volume of Dominion, because I love conflict. Dominion conflict is so good. But if Ghost in the Shell 2 is an example of this, this is where his mind is at these days, it's probably a good thing that he never delivered on his promise of more Dominion, because it would just be heartbreaking. Now, as a final note, I did get one more Ghost in the Shell manga to talk about for this podcast, and that would be 1.5, Human Error Processor. This is a series of comics that Shiro did that actually as a continuation of the story from, well, not really the story, but basically the Adventures of Section 9, mostly minus Major Kusanagi, after the end of the original Ghost in the Shell. Basically, he was headed in a direction of offering a far more standard sequel before he he decided to go off and do whatever the fuck he was doing in Ghost in the Shell 2. So these are kind of like, lost stories that, it's like have the team, dealing with a dead with a dead member, it's like member of the Japanese government who seems to have who is apparently been able to get up and start walking around and be not dead as well. So what's the deal with that? It's like also dealing with a it's like with the serial killing of it's like of certain people who were working in a refugee camp back during the war. It's like, and also like teaming with the major to solve to protect a it's like a scientist who has critical information to this one case, and also get back another scientist's kidnapped zombified girlfriend as well. 1.5 doesn't really make me wish for more Ghost in the Shell, honestly. If you liked the original series, this is probably like the best sequel you're going to get. Honestly, it's like it did feel somewhat refreshing to read this after having re-experienced Ghost in the Shell 2 and realize that, hey, like Shiro, like that I can actually is capable of giving some people actual character and personality, but this is all just like more evidence that he's just completely lost it since diving right up his ass for man-machine interface. So I guess like in the end here, it's like my recommendation. I recommend just checking out the original Ghost in the Shell movie and both seasons of Standalone Complex. If you want the prime exploration of the concept, those are what you're going to want to do. If for some reason you feel compelled to see where it all began, get the original series. I don't think it's all that great compared to how all the stuff that's been how it's been talked about over the years and its influence on certain artists on this side of the Pacific. But stay the fuck away from the man-machine interface if you know what's good for you. I mean, if you're a hardcore Shiro apologist who will follow anything that he does, well, chances are you probably already own it. And you may think that I'm completely full of shit for trashing it, but you know what? Hey, you know what? Fuck you. It's like this up until Kodansha yanked this from Dark Horse, I considered it the worst comic I've read from them. Which, yeah, that title is taken by Gunsmith Cat's Burst. So there you go. Now, Ghost in the Shell 2 is basically the worst comic I've read from Kodansha Comics USA. All three Ghost in the Shell comics can be, along with the standalone Complex manga, which I didn't bother reading because, well, I've seen the anime, so no worries there. But so there you go. Like I said, Ghost in the Shell, the exemplar for anime where the adaptation is better than the original, at least as far as I'm concerned. John, any final thoughts from your end about all this?
Nope, I think you've summed it up pretty well.
Bitterly, I hope.
Yeah. Yes. And, well, you all have our thoughts on the movie as well. So that's the live action that just came out. So
yeah, and if you want to see it, you better rush to the theaters right now.
Yeah. I haven't checked the numbers on that one, but
they're not good. Trust me.
I'll bet you.
I have checked the numbers, and yeah, run. If you want to.
Yeah. Yeah, it may be coming. Hey, on the flip side, if you do want to see it, it'll probably be out on home video or whatever you want to call it. Streaming options will probably be available a lot quicker than you think.
Yep, indeed.
All right. Do you know what you're going to be talking about next time?
Possibly. I'll finally get around to talking about Prophet. From Image now that I've had the 5th volume in my to review list for a while, so it's due to for a solid reread to see how it all gels together. After that, though, well, it's like Spider-Man: The Clone Conspiracy. is hitting hardcover. So I'm probably maybe talking about that in the podcast after that one.
All right, and we'll check you out next time on Comics by the Click.
Right, later.
Bye.